TA Thursday Business Series 2, Risk, Recovery, and Resilience. This event is being recorded for educational purposes, and I'm Alicia Drake, a member of the TA team and today's moderator. We also have with us Mike Neal, our tollway consultant and strategic partner, along with Nita Sharp, Director of Program Development. Now, today's business series is designed for you to learn about risks, recovery, and resilience. We want your business to move forward, grow, establish connections, and flow with new possibilities. You will hear directly from subject matter experts with years of experience. Also, contract opportunities will be covered by Jesse Martinez, a Fair Employment Practice Administrator at the Illinois Capital Development Board. Keep in mind, our subject matter experts provide services to our TA clients at no cost. For those interested in becoming a TA client, please email us using programs@Chicago MSDC. That's been posted in the chat. And as usual, consultations with our subject matter experts do not guarantee a contract for your company. Now, our participants will be muted and our presenters will be unmuted to share their presentations. So please post your questions in chat, and time permitting, they will be addressed during the Q&A after each presentation. If not, questions will be compiled and sent to the appropriate presenter for follow-up. So in an effort to continue providing you with valuable information, please complete our survey that will be emailed to you at the conclusion of today's event. At this time, we will bring forth our President and CEO of Chicago MSDC, Vince Williams, to share a few words, followed by Nita Sharp. Vince?
Excellent. Thank you so much, Alicia. And thank you to all of the attendees and the panelists today. As you know, TA Thursdays is a new initiative that has started to really share some great content with those that are interested in receiving technical assistance from the programs here at Chicago MSDC. And we're honored and valued to those that are participating in it as we strive to share more resources for these businesses to thrive, if you will. I just thought of that. That was good, right? All right. I want to thank Patricia I may pronounce this wrong. Is it Cephas?
It is Cephas.
Patricia Cephas, thank you so much for joining us today and talking on risk management. I'd also like to thank Ruben Hamilton, that's with our CARES program, that's going to talk on recovery. Mr. Martinez from the FEP administration to talk about contracts, and then Ms. Travis that's going to talk about resilience. As we know, many of our businesses, particularly our minority, our Black business and Hispanic businesses, are having a really hard time during this pandemic. And so here at the Chicago MSDC, we wanted to provide these value-added initiatives that can showcase how resilient we are as businesses. I'm also a minority business owner, and so I know exactly what's happening now, what we're all experiencing. So it really is something that the team, Nita, Alicia, Mike, the others here at the council are striving to make sure that these resources we receive, we share with you so that you can order to maintain, build capacity, and ultimately sustain during this time as we try to be very intentional and showcase the impact of the work is that we're doing here with supplier diversity. So thank you. If you have others in your ecosystem that would love to be a part of these TA Thursdays, please have them join. Reach out to Nita and Alicia and the team to share more and gather more information about these great services, because we want to do them for you, but we can't do them without you. Just thought of that one too, y'all. This cold weather is getting to me, sorry. But thank you again so much. We appreciate you. And without further ado, today's TA Thursday, Risk, Recovery, and Resilience. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Vince. We appreciate that welcome and being a part of the team, and we appreciate your support as well. Okay, well, let's jump right in. We have a lot of information to share. Our presenters are ready, so we'll start looking at risks. We've talked and shared over weeks past about bonding and insurance, but today's risk is going to really talk about the pandemic and how to pandemic proof your business, how to look forward and move forward. And Patricia Cephas is here. She's an assistant VP at Lambert Risk Management Services, a certified MBE with Chicago MSDC. Welcome, Patricia, and I'll pass the mic to you.
All right. All right, can everybody see my presentation?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. Let's see.
Okay, we can see it now, Patricia.
Okay. Okay, so first of all, who are we? We are Lambert Risk Management. We've been in business for 21 years now, and we are a woman minority-owned business. Our staff, as in combination, we have about 200 years of experience, and that experience is combined with insurance placement, insurance design, loss control services, claim management, third-party administrator, and employee benefits. Our firm is committed to taking a holistic approach to managing your risk. So today we're going to talk about COVID-19 and business risk. So there's a lot of risks that was, are related to COVID-19, but we're just going to focus on your employees, your customer, and the financials. And then we're going to talk about in the second part, just a little bit of some mitigated strategies that you can just start thinking about and taking a look at, primarily building out a business continuity plan. So when we look at your employees, and these are some of the risks that happened during this pandemic, you may have lost some employees due to COVID or had illness. It was definitely a lot of added stress on everyone, and especially for the essential workers. So some of you have been working throughout this whole pandemic, and that has put a lot of stress on your workers. There may have been an increase of absences due to caring for others or staying home with children during this pandemic. So what are the risks to your business? You may have had reduced labor. You may have to replace laborers. You may replace workers. There was probably a loss of productivity. Some of your projects may have been delayed or even just really canceled or lost. You may have had an increase in utilization of your employee benefit plans, and in a year from now that you may experience an increase in costs. Your workers' compensation claims, you may have had claims filed during this pandemic. And then employer practice liability claims. These are claims that your employees actually file against you. There's some study going on right now saying that you may see more of these type of claims for unsafe workplace, or there may be employer practice claims around discrimination of how you administered your time off pay. So those are some of the impacts that you may see for your business. Now to your customers, some of your customers may have actually gone out of business. Your face-to-face time with your customers may have been reduced. I know our office, we really like talking to our customers face-to-face when we're doing renewals, and that face-to-face time was just no longer there. Changes in the response time. Again, you may be able to respond quickly to your employers in the past, but when you had to go remote working, that just slowed down that response time. You may have experienced a slowness or slow down in how you were getting all your supplies and your materials. Remote communication versus in person. I mean, probably 2 years ago, we would have been sitting in a conference room doing this presentation, but now we're all remote. And that posed some challenges for some of your customers. I know some of our customers had never been on Zoom or just didn't even know how to operate it. So that created some issues. And then you may have been still out there working. So you were putting your customers at risk when you came to their businesses. So that was an exposure for your customer when you were out there still working and being around them. So the impact to your business, You may have lost some loyal customers, and that in turn, you may have lost some revenue. The other thing you may experience is some general liability claims, and those are claims that people are filing claims against you, maybe your customers even. And if you had some issues with completing some of your projects, you may experience some surety claims at some point. So the financial impact, of course, is that you may have a tight cash flow, receivables, turnarounds, people paying you may have been slow, past due bills, vendors may have been demanding cash on delivery for your supplies and materials. Because this pandemic affected everybody, so everybody's trying to survive. Your bank line of credit, may be limited. Your business may have shrunk. Some business may have expanded. You may have had had more opportunities because of this pandemic. You may be renting out space right now that you no longer occupy. So what do you do? And then when you move back into your location, do you need as much space? So that's something to consider on your financials. And you may have just experienced some claims that you submitted that were denied. I know in our business, we had a few of our customers that had business continuity claims that were denied by the carriers because business continuity was set up for property losses, not pandemics. So those were some of the financial impacts that you may have experienced. So what do you do? So what are some of the mitigation strategies that you may want to implement to protect yourself in the future for not only just this pandemic, but any natural disaster? So one of the things we want to focus on is a business continuity plan. According to the U.S. Small Business Administrator, companies they start creating a business continuity plan or a recovery plan after a disaster. And that can be sometimes too late. About 5% of the small businesses don't survive a natural catastrophe. So if you're still here and you're still working and you still have a business, now is the time to really kind of put together a business continuity plan. Now, when you start bringing your plan together, now you're really managing risk, and your employees, they're one of your greatest assets. So how do you manage that situation because of the pandemic or any natural disasters? So one of the things, some of the questions you may start asking yourself is, how many people do I need to run my operations? Can I run it with 40% of employees? And what are the essential jobs that I just must have? You may look at jobs like your project manager or people that go out and bid the work. Some of these jobs are just essential for your business. We all had to experience maybe how quickly you can flip your business and telecommute. I know with our company, we weren't a telecommuting company. We didn't have, everybody didn't have laptops. So how quickly can you move to that place where you can now telecommute? Take a look at your sick time policies and your time off policies. That's an area that you can really look at and just figure out are you doing it equally for all your employees? And do you have trustworthy employees? So I put that in there because sometimes when you move to a telecommute, you're going to have to trust that your employees can work from home. Or if you got more employees that are kind of moving around out in the community, you got to be able to trust that they can keep themselves safe, they can keep your company safe, and they can just represent you well. And do you require employees to get vaccination? That's something that you might just start thinking about right now. It's not required by probably maybe in the medical field, but that might be just something that's out there now. That's a future thing that you want to start looking at. So your strategies, one of the things, if you don't have employer practice liability insurance, that might be just something you might want to look into. Not only because it protects you against claims from your employees, it also, a lot of the carriers offer a lot of different support for you with this policy. They can do training with your employees or your managers. So it's just really a policy that you want to look at to really help you protect yourself. And they offer a lot of good information about how to just run your business with your employees. An employee assistance program. Again, if you don't have that program, that might be just something you look at that can help support your employees if they're dealing with loss, if they're dealing with illnesses. That program offers that kind of out of the office private support for your employees. Workers' compensation claims, you still want to take a look at how you're addressing your workers' compensation claims when they happen. Do you have a solid post-injury management process for your claims so that you know kind of what's going on and you're controlling and bringing people back to work like duty if possible? And then if you don't have an employee benefit health plan, that might be just something you look into as well for your employees. And then a safety manual. Take a look at your safety manual, what you have today. I know that everyone had to add COVID safety precautions in their safety manual, but you need to add that to it if you haven't already. But take a look at, how do you incorporate COVID now into your safety processes? And then lastly, look at all your internal reviews, your internal workflows and processes that impact your employees. Again, we're talking about a business continuity plan, so you need to probably just review everything that you do and document it so that if there is another catastrophe, whether it's a physical or pandemic, you kind of know how your business runs as it relates to your employees. Customers. Who are your key customers? You need to just really know who those people are and then figure out ways to really keep them. Do you have a strong project management process or a strong project manager? If this is something that's out there that you need to beef up, then now's the time to do it. So you know that if another pandemic or whatever comes about, you can actually follow through on your projects. Do you have a site safety plan? If you're moving around to different job sites or your businesses that you're moving around to different places, you got to keep your customers safe, and you don't want your employees to create an accident where they're doing unsafe acts, hurting other people. You want to know who your key suppliers are, and then again, how often are you communicating with your employees? So some of the strategies, you look at newsletters, constant contact, your website is part of how you might change how you communicate with some of your employees or your customers. Review your current vendor supplies and materials. You might have to stockpile, look at how can I get more things stored somewhere so if something happens, I can quickly move into action. And then if you're looking at moving a lot of your business more online, another policy that you really need to look at and have is the cyber liability. A lot of payments are now going out online. A lot of money transactions are out there. So you want, if you don't have liability, if you don't have that kind of coverage, you might want to look at it. And then bonds. That's another area that the technical assistance team can help you with. And that protects you against you not being able to finish a project for some reason. Okay, your finances. So, this is a good time to really start looking at, if you probably have already been doing it, but looking at your income, your expenses, and how that's really have impacted your profit. Were there any gaps? Is there anything that you could do now to really shore up your expenses or cut your expenses so that if something happens in the future, it doesn't really impact your bottom line? How do I protect my assets? We had customers that, we had to quickly move out of our building. You may have to quickly move off of a job site. So how do you protect your materials and your machinery that may be still on that job site? These are just things that you need to think about, and that's protecting your assets. And then figure out what your long-term and short-term goals are. And then as you build your business continuity plan, you may have some short-term goals, and then you may have some long-term goals because you might not be able to do everything at once. And then taking a look at, has this pandemic created an opportunity for you? It may, for some people, they just may be able to change their business model and do things differently so you are more profitable in the future. So I know we covered a lot of information, and so we say, how can we help? We can help you with your contractor bonds. So we can give you information on performance bonds, license and permit bonds, and wage and welfare bonds. The rolling owner-controlled insurance program. That this is the way that the tollway has really helped is establishing a way for small businesses to really compete with prime contractors. So we can share more information on how you can participate in that program to help you. They provide general liability coverage for the projects that may be out there. Another thing we can do is we can actually review your insurance program right now to look at what coverages that you have and what coverages you may consider to help protect you better for any kind of disaster. Employee benefit plans, we can help you with that. If you don't have a plan for your employees, we can help you find a plan for your employees, or even just send the ones that you have out to market to see if you can get the best plan, the best cost for your employee benefit plans. And then finally, we can help you with your business continuity plan. That's something that if you have a business plan, we could take a look at that and then figure out how do we keep your business going for something like a pandemic or a natural disaster. And then your risk management procedures. So looking at your safety manuals and your HR manuals, that's another thing that we can help you with to make sure that you're just shored up on all sides for anything that can happen in the future. So a little bit about us again. This is our contact information. Lambert Risk Management. We're downtown in Chicago, right next door to City Hall. My contact and email information is there. And I have a partner that's on the line. He's in charge of our P&C operation and bonds, and we can help you with holistically any kind of service needs that you have. So that's the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
All right, thank you very much, Patricia. Great information. And thank you also to Junior Pierre, who's on the call. We appreciate Lambert Risk Management Services and all that you do for our clients. I don't see any questions in the chat, but I do have one for you. Patricia, can you tell us how often a business continuity plan should be reviewed or revised? Is it quarterly, annually? How often?
Well, I would say probably at minimum annually. And if things are changing in your business or just changing outside of your business, maybe more often. But I would recommend forming a small team within your organization to be part of your continuity planners, and just have them, they can be assigned different areas, but just meet together and just go through your business and talk through it. What happens with our banking if we now have to move remote? What happened to our mail? What happens to our mail if it's in the office? But just go through all of those processes within your organization and then figure out what do we do if something happens.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Thank you. Great information.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Lambert Risk Management Services, that's available to our clients at no cost. So just let us know if you'd like to work with Patricia and Junior, and we will get you started. Thank you again, Patricia. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Our pleasure. All right, so moving forward on our agenda next under recovery, we're moving from risk to recovery, and we have Ruben Hamilton with us today. He's the CARES Act Program Coordinator with the Chicago MBDA under the auspices of Chicago MSDC. So we have great resources available through Chicago MBDA. Thank you for joining us, Ruben. I'm glad to have you. And I will turn the mic over to you.
Thank you, and thanks to everybody who is attending today. We live in and we're working in some trying times now, and understanding what is available to you will help you to be in a better position to be able to drive sustainability for yourself. Patricia, that was just some great information, because recovery, that is going to be what everybody is working under. And if you don't have a business continuity plan, or if you haven't addressed some of the business acronyms that you need to address, then you're going to find yourself struggling. There is no company, whether large or small, that's been in operation that is not looking at how are we going to recover. And those who are not taking those things into consideration are finding themselves either shutting down or in dire situations. So as has been said, I am Ruben Hamilton. I'm the program coordinator for the CARES Act, which is part of the Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council and is offered through the Minority Business Development Agency. We see ourselves as your partners for sustainable economic growth. Within our program, the MBDA is an agency that is of the U.S. Department of Commerce, and they help to create and sustain U.S. jobs and by promoting growth and global competitiveness. The MBDA works to.
Ruben, are you sharing your screen? I'm sorry.
Yes, I thought I was.
No, we don't see it yet.
Okay, hold on a second and let me just double check. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes, we see it now.
Okay, well, my apologies. I guess I didn't. Technology. See, there you go. Technology, you just gotta love it. You know,
Gotta love it. Thank you.
This new year, this new age we're working in is again to just another point to what Patricia was saying is that you've got to have backup plans. You've got to have business continuity plans. How are you going to pivot your business to make sure that you are able to move forward? So as I was saying, the Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council and the MBDA Business Development Agency are partners, have partnered together to ensure that we can help you to drive sustainable economic growth. Who we are, the MBDA is an agency of the U.S. Department of Commerce, and we work through them to create and sustain U.S. jobs. We work throughout the nation and link minority businesses with capital, contracts, and markets they need to grow. So there are roughly about 23 or 24 different MBDA centers throughout the United States. We advocate and promote minority-owned businesses and to elected officials, policymakers, and business leaders. So we're constantly advocating for small businesses to be able to, minority-owned small businesses to be able to get visibility and be able to be considered in projects that are coming up. We serve as subject matter experts and we advocate, as I was mentioning, for minority-owned businesses through the community. Okay, I should have put this on the presentation mode. Apologize for that. The CARES Act, I'm sure everybody's heard about the CARES Act. Is a program that was initiated back in 2020 in March by then President Trump to be able to bring some assistance to small businesses and to help them in their struggling with the pandemic. There was over $2 trillion of economic relief that was in that package that was delivered, and it was disseminated out through the marketplace in various different ways. The MBDA Center was one of the areas where the monies was distributed to help to drive economic empowerment for economic assistance for small businesses. And the CARES Act, for the most part, is to provide fast and direct economic assistance to American workers, families, and small businesses. Now, the Chicago MBDA CARES Act Center has the similar goals as that which is the National MBDA CARES Act provides. So this just tells you that this is what we're aligned to do as well, which you will see there's the similarities with the national operation in conjunction with the CARES Act that was passed. Now, what do? What we try to do is to help suppliers to gain visibility and information in areas where they can definitely be beneficial to them. Three main things that I'm going to talk about is one is that we help suppliers to get access and to identify loan opportunities. Now, Patricia talked about finance, and heaven knows, financial recovery is sometimes the hardest thing, and it's the one thing that can definitely put you under. With our program, we try to make sure that the suppliers are aware of all of the loan opportunities that are available to them. And yes, loans have their various different challenges with them, but it is a means of being able to get the funding that you need for your operation. Here are some of the loaning programs that we have access to, and we help to provide information to suppliers so that they can make informed decisions on what is going to be the best program for them. SBA, and everybody knows about the EIDL loan, or a lot of people know about the EIDL loan and the PPP. Not sure if everybody knows there's a round 3 for the PPP coming out, and we will be providing educational sessions on that as well. Excuse me. Grants. There's a lot of grants out there, and who does not like free money? So when you look at your options and you think about how you're going to recover in this through this pandemic, this may be an option for you. Grants can be anywhere from a couple of $100, well, a couple of $1,000 to up to $50,000. One of the biggest grants that was out was the big grant, the business interruption grant that was available. That was a grant that was a lot of people was trying to take advantage of. Other grants that are available that people are not aware of. What we do at the NBDA Care Center is that we find out and we try to track and monitor all the grants that are available so that when you contact us and you let us know where you are residing at and what you need, we can help to direct you to those places where you can potentially see that you can get access to funding and to capital. Something else we do is we do webinars, and these webinars will cover a variety of topics. Some of the topics that Patricia covered, we also cover, but we try to make sure that you understand that there is a lot more part of your business operation that you need to be concerned with. You know, the business that she was talking about, the continuity plan, the mitigation strategies, the financial impact, the development of your business plan. You know, how do you recover your customers? You know, all of these types of things are going to be webinars that we can provide you that gives you helpful insight and information relating to what you can do. Here is a listing of some of the webinars that we've done. Tax implication after COVID-19. Has anybody thought about that? What is going to happen with your filing of your taxes? Because I can tell you now, there has not been a delay, or there will not be an extension for tax filing this year. Patricia talked about renegotiating on leases. Well, you've been in a building, and what happens now? You're not occupying that building. You got a whole bunch of money that you're spending out, or whatever that lease agreement is, that is just money going out the window that you could potentially be re-evaluating or putting into your business. One of the newest things that we have is that next to the last bullet point is the Pandemic Survival Series. This covers a whole bunch of other topics relating to caring for your employees, you know, health and safety concerns, and it's currently being offered, and we encourage you to look to take care of it. You can also get information, other information from the City of Chicago's Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection. They have a business educational program that they work. So with that being said, here's our contact information where you can reach out to Lenora or myself. We will be happy to be able to provide you with information relating to the grants that are available, the loans that are available, as well as the webinars that we are offering. And we encourage you to participate in them, because there's a wealth of information that we are providing to everybody, and understanding and knowing what your options are can be very critical. So that's all I have today, Nina. I'll turn it back over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ruben. A wealth of information at our fingertips. I'm just flabbergasted at the resources that are available that businesses can take advantage of. So we have your contact information. We can put that in chat, and we can also refer our clients over to you, especially with things coming out on a daily basis, to stay aware of what's available, what the options are. So thank you, Ruben. We appreciate your time, and we appreciate all you do.
I'm glad to be part of it.
The CARES Act, the CARES team. I like that. Okay, so let's move forward. With each TA Thursday, we make available to you procurement opportunities. And today we have with us the Illinois Capital Development Board. Jesse Martinez is sharing as the FEP administrator, and Joey is assisting. So I'll pass the mic to you guys.
Good afternoon, and thank you for allowing us to present Capital Development Board. Most folks, and I think Joey's got control. And go to the next screen, Joey. Capital Development Board, and I want to thank Joey for putting my high school picture up. I appreciate that. Always making me look good. So CDB is the agency for the state that does all the vertical construction. Most folks are familiar with IDOT, tollway. We're probably the best kept secret in the state. By default, I believe we're a small business incubator, and I'll tell you why. Out of the 70% of our work is between 5 million and 100,000. And when you see CDB, we're kind of like the construction management entity for the state on all verticals. So when IDOT needs a new salt dome, when they need rest areas, right, we're the ones responsible for that construction. And we have about 8,700 facilities statewide that renovate new construction. And so the reason we're kind of like the new popular kid in school again is because of the next screen that's coming up. The Illinois Capital Program, right? Rebuild Illinois, $45 billion. So we're currently in year 2 of the 6-year rollout. CDB was appropriated about 9.6 billion. And so if we're talking billions, and I just said 70% of our opportunities are about 5 million to 100,000 in work. So you can realistically see right away that that's a lot of projects to make up $1 billion worth of appropriations on a year to year. So in the next 5 to 6 years, we have a lot of work. So we have about 5.4 for state facilities, 2.6 billion for deferred maintenance, 4.2 for higher education, and 2.9 for capital renewals. So there's plenty of work. The good thing about Capital Development Board is we pay between 15 to 20 days. We don't start a job unless the project is funded. We don't operate out of the general fund. We're funded through bonds. So whenever we have the money, we have the appropriations, we have the permission, those projects are rolling out. And we're doing this from on the diverse side. What I didn't mention was FEP is everything diversity at Capital Development Board. So we're part of the fabric of a project from the cradle to the grave on the AE side and on the construction side. And we're setting minority, women, and veteran goals on both sides, design and construction, to make sure that diverse businesses have an opportunity at the table on any broken up piece of that opportunity. We're setting goals. Go to the next screen, Joey. I'm going to walk you through our website really quick, just to kind of give you a flavor of the type of projects that we have right now live. And as long as you're engaged with CDB, you have the opportunity to perform. Joe, I don't know if you can go into the website.
Yeah, I think I have to
okay.
switch the capabilities.
That's fine. So the range of our work, I mentioned there was 8,700 facilities statewide. So we have a $200 million hospital for Department of Corrections down to an outhouse at a state park and anything in between. So the scope of these projects ranges dramatically. So if you're in construction, if you're in AE, architects, engineers, we have work for you. So this is our bid information. Scroll down to the solicitations. So if you click solicitations, and this is our live website right now. These are active projects currently ready to, if you're a minority-owned firm, folks are looking for you. And these are live right now. Let's take the last project, Joey, at the bottom, because that's probably the current one. This is replacing a roof, right? So less than 500,000 is the estimate. That's our number. It's not an exact number. It gives us a range. It gives you You know that every project over $250,000 is going to have minority, women, and veteran goals. And you also know, just on this solicitation, the bid date is April 14th. So there's plenty of time for you as a BEP firm to start soliciting this opportunity. A lot of our pre-bid meetings right now are virtual. Some are on location, depending on the room and the availability and the area location. But so 3/23, March 23rd, we're going to have a pre-bid for this project. If this is a project that you're interested in performing, it's a replacing roof. 8,700 facilities, they all have a roof. So roofing is a huge area of opportunity. So a lot of these pre-bids are mandatory. A lot of them are not, but that's a great place to network and find partners. A lot of the primes are searching for quality, willing, and able minority, women, and veteran firms. So that just kind of gives you a flavor of the opportunities that exist right now. The next screen will show you that we do outreaches, do to 2 or 3 outreaches that kind of educate you on the process, CDB process, and how we operate, and the culture, and what to expect when you engage within our opportunities. And then we do project-specific outreaches. So we kind of go into the weeds of that specific project and what it entails, the type of scope, and so you can start kind of networking with potential partners. Alderman Villegas is hosting an outreach for us, and then we had the project specific where, in 2020 with these WebEx, the only silver lining I've seen in this pandemic is these virtual meetings. We were able to connect with over 1,000 firms, either through a one-on-one or it's project-specific outreaches. So we've been busy in 2020, and it's really paid off with switching over to these WebEx, just the time and convenience. So you have my email on the screen. I'm an email or a phone call away from any assistance you might need at CDB, because we are your advocate within CDB to make sure you are successful. And if you're a contractor or AE and you want to kind of understand our paperwork, our process, we will train you. March 24th is the next contractor training. We have trainings for AEs, but March 24th from 8 a.m. to 3:30. If you're interested in jumping on and getting trained, we'll be happy to walk you through and get you registered. Next screen. I'm sensitive for the time. So strategies for partnering. I mentioned that the pre-bid meetings I think the pre-bid meetings are probably the best way to meet new firms. Why? Because that's an active project. Everybody in that room is going to, is looking for that opportunity, and there are goals associated, so they have to touch base with you. They can't come to me, ask for a waiver of the goals when I know you were in the room looking for an opportunity. So that helps me eliminate the whole waiver request ordeal. So attending these outreaches that we host, we're always invited to talk and promote CDB. Again, we're the popular kid in school again, because we have the projects and we have the funding. And for small business building capacity, we're probably the best, again, the best kept secret, because we're by default a small business incubator. If you're interested, I do a lot of technical one-on-one with these small minority firms, women, veterans, because I really want to understand your essence of your business, your capacity, and really give you a strategy to be successful once you're engaged with CDB, and maybe introduce prime contractors that are looking for a specific trade. I'll give you an example. If they're a prime that self-perform flooring, I'm not going to bring you to them if you self-perform flooring. Then they'll see you as a competitor. It's not a natural partnership. So I look at what is your expertise of what you self-perform, and I try to bring you to somebody that does not self-perform that type of work, so it could be a natural fit. And that's the kind of strategy, conversations, and capacity. How much risk are you willing to take? It's construction. It's construction. And so how much risk are you going to put on the table? Those are all conversations for putting that strategy together. Joey, next screen. So you have my contact information, and I'll be happy. Like I said, I'm a phone call or an email away for anybody that wants to engage in some of these opportunities. We're going to spend $1 billion worth in projects that are where 70% of them are under 5 million. So that's right now we have about 600 active projects between design, construction, and closeout. So we're here to help, and we're here to advocate for your business. I want to thank you again for this opportunity.
All right, thank you, Jesse. Great presentation, a lot of information. We see your website, payment in 15 to 20 days. Very impressive. I love that, especially for small business owners. Joey, please share that flyer with me about the workshop on March 24th. We'd like to share that as well with all of our certified MBEs. Okay. Thank you both again. Appreciate you both. All right, so let's move forward. Our final presenter today is Dana Travis. She's the president of DR Travis. She's presenting on resilience, our final characteristic today. Thank you, Dana. I'll pass the mic to you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well today. I am going to speak about resiliency, and I'm going to pull up my presentation here. I'm sorry, let me first take control. One second, I apologize. Sorry about that. I don't know what that is. This is not. I'm sorry, I'm the end and we're short on time. I apologize.
It's okay. I'm sure you'll redeem the time.
Oh, right. For some reason, it did. It jumps to the next. Here we go. Okay. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, again, my name is Dana Travis. I'm a CPA and president of DR Travis, Inc. We are a certified public accounting, consulting, asset management, and facility support firm that was established in 2001. Our accounting and finance professionals has assisted small businesses, nonprofits, federal, state, local, and quasi-governmental agencies with their tailored service needs. We assist small businesses and businesses with preparation, underwriting, packaging, pretty much all of their financial needs needed to obtain loans and other financing vehicles to maintain or increase their capacity. And we also work with governmental agencies in other areas such as facilities and professional services. We are a certified SBA 8A and minority-owned, woman-owned business. So resiliency, or as I like to say, adapt to survive. Business as usual used to be a common phrase. Now, I guess the new phrase is the new normal. But business as usual in the pre and post-pandemic time is different. Under the pre-pandemic time, we as small business owners were planning for our growth and expansion. You know, what new contracts, what else can we go after? How can we grow our business? What was required during that time under our planning and growth phases were to manage our pain points. And I'll expound on the pain points, but in general, we're talking about managing all aspects of your business, such as the financial, technical, your customer relationships or sales and your vendors. And a lot of people will say, well, you know, I'm in trucking, for instance, or I'm in roofing, you know, what do I know about the financial aspects? This is what I do. I do trucking, or I do this particular trade. But then what is required when you build your capacity is you would have to look at going into new markets, operating to capacity to become more of a prime or a subcontractor on larger contracts. And so when we talk about managing the financial, technical, customer relationships, and capacity building, what are we really talking about? We're talking about your business plan. Does this sound like it describes a business plan? When you're planning for growth and expansion, you always are looking at what is your business plan. So that was our business as usual in the pre-pandemic time. We were always trying to operate our business plan. In the post-pandemic world, or the new normal, now we're adapting with the new challenges. We're doing the pre-pandemic work, our planning for growth and expansion, but we are having to adapt it to new challenges brought on through the pandemic. So our old planning and growth for expansion is the new, how do I stay afloat as a small business owner? And so you wonder, is that a question? Yes, it is a question, and that everyone wants to know the answer to, right? And I don't have a magic bullet answer in case you're, waiting with bated breath for me to tell you, but I can give you some cures, some remedies to help you figure out or determine for your business what some of that may look like on how to stay afloat. And once we do that, and once we start talking about that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to narrow it down to 3 tools for you today. And we all know there's a multitude of tools, that are available and would be available to you as a small business owner in the financial and capacity building arena, such as many of the things that some of the other presenters spoke about today. So one of the 3 areas is managing cash flow. And so that goes back to the question, do I need a new business plan? The answer is yes. If you don't look at creating a brand new business plan, because it takes a lot to put together a business plan. But when we say new and adapting to the new challenges, it's take your old business plan and adapt it to what is going on in the market now. Who are your customers and clients now? Where is your flow of income now? Who can you obtain cash and receipts, and who are you paying now? So adapt your old business plan to what your new challenges are in the post-pandemic era and the new normal. So you can definitely manage your cash flow and see where your business is thriving and where you need to focus your attention. And we'll talk more about that in a moment. But the second tool is seizing opportunities that are available now for you as small business owners. Ruben spoke about a lot of them under the CARES Act. There's other programs that Mr. Martinez spoke about. So there's state and local business fundings and opportunities that you need to take advantage of. I'm sorry, I wasn't finished with that you need to take advantage of that are out there and available for you. And then the third tool is leveraging, tax and credits and other financially driven business resources that, again, are new and out there for you to take advantage of as a small business during this new normal or the post-pandemic time. So now on managing cash flow, so what you want to ask yourself and look at is just some basic questions. Are you reviewing your monthly performance against your newly proposed budget or even your old budget? We all know that the old budget is pretty much out of the question at this point. So, you pull out the old budget, you make some new notes about, what your new monthly performance looks like and what your goals are. You need to review it monthly. Do you feel like you're running out of cash or short on cash at any point during the month? Of course, everyone does, right? What debt does your business have? What credit options do you have in place? And have you scenario planned, in parentheses, your situations where you would need a line of credit, such as for equipment or machinery failure, those things that are needed for you to generate revenue and income for your business? What are the company's baseline operating costs for 1 month? How can you manage your cash flow if you don't know what your monthly operating costs are? Basically, a lot of small businesses are managing month by month, some week by week, depending on your circumstances. But you have to know where your expenses are and what's draining your cash flow and what's increasing your cash flow. And then, do you have any savings for your business or cash on hand to cover if one of your customers is in the same situation that everyone else is, and as a result of the economic slowdown, they're paying slower? What do you have in place to cover those payment delays so you can continue to pay for your goods and services that you need to keep your business afloat? So how can we help? With your input and assistance, we can redesign your current accounting program and system, or set you up a new, more functional accounting program and system. A lot of people have an accounting program. Some really use it, some really don't use it, or some really need a new one. Some are using outdated. I've talked to people that are still using 2016. I mean, the advances in technology for accounting and programs and financial systems has really come a long way in a short period of time. So maybe you're happy with your current accounting program and system, but you need to make it work for you nowadays so you can extract the information you need to manage your cash flow, manage your vendors, look at your sales projections and things such as that. Next, your system will then capture the data you need in order, like I said, to manage your cash flow, to make proper business decisions, to prepare bids, estimates, proposals, certified payrolls, and to generate the financials and applications you need for certification applications, for loans, and any other financial aspects you're trying to take advantage of. The next one is on seizing the second tool, on seizing available opportunities. As Ruben mentioned, with the CARES Act, there are a multitude of programs out. The one that's most prevalent, that everyone's familiar with, and the one that's most in the news and has the most available cash at this point is the Payroll Protection Program, or the PPP. Now, a lot of you may already be familiar with, I'll assume you're familiar with the PPP program. Some of you may already have gotten some money, and some of you may not have. So under the new, I'm going to talk about some of the new issues that are coming up now and that affect the program that you could take advantage of now. Okay, so it's available, as you all may know, to most forms of businesses. It has now been extended to March 31st. So if you've never obtained those funds, you can still get a first draw, as they call it, PPP, or a Payroll Protection Program funds. We can assist you with the application and doing the information you need. So when we talk about the PPP program and on seizing available opportunities, you think of the PPP money not as a loan, but as a cash infusion, cash that's going to help you with your cash flow issues. And it's cash infusion coming in so you can keep your vendors, have money available, for some of the emergencies that I spoke about under the cash flow section. You have to repay a loan. You don't have to repay the PPP funds. And of course, I'm going to put a disclaimer, provided that is forgiven. But if you're using it for the purposes under the program, you should not have an issue with it being forgiven. The next one that you should seize on or look at seizing on as an available opportunity is the employee retention credit. There have been some great new changes to that program, and that's under the CARES Act as well. Before, or last year, as a PPP recipient, you were not able to take the retention credit, but they changed the regs, and now as a PPP recipient, you are available or able to take retention credit. You just have to structure it properly such that you're not taking the credit on the same employees or payroll that you've taken under the PPP program. But remember, the PPP program only covered a certain period of time, not the entire year. So you should have plenty of other opportunities and payroll to use for the employee retention credit. And they also increased the credit amount. the credit amount was, just to give you an idea, was $10,000 for the year, for a year. Now it's $10,000 each quarter. So that's potentially $40,000 in credits. So how can we help on this second tool? We can help you determine your eligibility for those programs and then assist you with the preparation and documentation for the first draw PPP loan request and the completion of the application. And then we can assist you and determine if you have any employee retention credit available to you under the new expanded employee retention credit regulation. Now that regulation is retroactive, so you can go back and claim the credit for 2020, all of 2020, and going forward now through 2021 until I believe it's the end of June. So you can go back and still claim credit from last year, and this is something new. The third tool was on leveraging other tax and business resources. Given the pandemic and everything that was going on outside and everyone having to shut down and figure out what was going on, IRS assessed lots of penalties, okay? Penalties for late filing of returns, even information returns, late payment of taxes, accuracy of information. There's a penalty for accuracy if you did not pay enough in taxes. You paid, but maybe it wasn't the full amount that they expected you to pay or that you should have paid according to your returns. There is a reasonable cause forgiveness under the IRS for penalties arising from those three broad categories that you can take advantage of. And honestly, I don't know who hasn't been penalized by the IRS for one thing or another, and they can get pretty stiff. So that is a way you can retain some cash back in your company for your working capital or just your regular cash flow. Okay, other available business resources. A lot of the things that were just mentioned by Mr. Martinez and by Ruben, that's available on the state and local, not just the federal under PPP, but under the state and local levels. Second draw PPP funds would be one of them. Do you qualify for more cash? That's another cash infusion. Again, it's not a loan. You look at it as a cash infusion. So how can we help? We can help you review the penalty by reviewing the penalty notices you may have received from the IRS and any correspondence. We'll review it with you and help you determine if you have a case for getting that penalty waived. We don't want you to have to pay the penalties, and there's a lot of room for you to go back to the IRS because they know what's going on out here. So they're going to be a little bit more lenient these days on getting those penalties waived. We can prepare the correspondence for you, for your business, based on specific language. Yes, they have their own coded language, to help that will help you more get those fees waived. And we can also then help prepare calculations for the second draw eligibility, because there are different requirements than under the first draw. So as you know, if you took advantage of the first draw or got money under the last year under the first PPP program, there is money. You can go back and get more PPP money equivalent to the same amount really that you got last year under the second draw, but you have to look at certain things. There's a receipts test, there's a way to, you'd have to calculate the loan, and you'd have to look at and take in consideration the first draw. So those are some things three tools that I just wanted to give you today, because as I mentioned, there is just a multitude of things that we could talk about on the financial end, but some of the critical things that we spoke about as far as as business as usual, adapting to the new resilient way to operate, the new normal, as we call it, in the post-pandemic time. We have to adapt with the new challenges that we as small business owners are given as a result of the pandemic. And ways we can do that is managing and watching our business operations, making sure that we have a handle on our cash flow and our financial position and situation, and seizing all of the opportunities to infuse cash or low interest loans and things like that that are out there available for our businesses, and then leveraging those resources and anything that's out there to keep the expenses down and low, such as penalties and fees, and taking advantage of increasing, some of the opportunities that we were able to secure in the first place, such as the second PPP loan. This is my contact information. And so you can then reach out to Alicia or Anita if you'd like to set up something for any of these things I mentioned, or anything that you think we may be able to help you with, to help you stay resilient or get resilient and adapt to survive in this new post-pandemic time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. Good information. That's wonderful. I didn't know that about looking at it as cash infusion and not a loan. That's a nice perspective. I like that.
It's free money. When they call it a forgivable loan, that means in effect it is a grant. And then they did make a lot of changes so that you don't have to take it into income or pay taxes on that as income, and also you still get to write off. This is something new too. The AICPA went through around and around with the IRS to get them to allow the expenses that you were able to cover with the money to be written off. So you do get, you get the benefit of not having to claim the PPP money in income, and you get to write off those expenses that PPP money actually paid for.
Good to know. And you can help clients with all of the aspects of forgiveness, helping them walk through the process, complete the right paperwork, make sure they're following proper procedures and protocol so that they can have their loans or have that forgiven, I should say.
Right. And it'll start with the documentation, the documentation that you provide to the lender. It's basically the same documentation you need to make sure that you basically turn in for the forgiveness application. So just having your paperwork ready and correct up front, should be a cakewalk at the end.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you again for sharing. Thank you to all our presenters today. Before we wrap up, Mike, would you like to share? Any comments?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank all the presenters. Excellent presentation. This information, I'm quite sure folks would definitely pay for, but under the TA program, it's offered free. And I'm going to go out on a limb right now, and I ain't going to say an executive position, but we're going to converse, because this has to be an encore. We definitely have to have an encore on this. And because the information is just so extremely important, and I know it was a small time to put it in, but we definitely got to have this. My opinion, Anita, we got to have this an encore. We got to let's do it again. And I just want to thank my buddy Jesse. Hadn't seen him in a while. Gave him a lot of pain too back in the day. But I'm so proud of him, and he has stepped up to the table. And Dana, oh my God, I got to figure out how I'm going to pay for this golf and write that off, under my tab. But anyhow, you all has been, Patricia, Ruben, it's just, you guys are outstanding. I just wanted to give you guys, just kudos for an awesome presentation, professional, and something that's usable. And so again, that's my word, and we will be doing an encore, believe me.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I hear you on that encore. All right, we are past the 5 o'clock hour. Thank you, everyone who stayed on. Alicia, can you close us out?
Yes, this definitely concludes our TA Thursday. Again, we thank you for taking the time to participate. It's our hope that you have obtained relevant information to further your business through our subject matter experts, the Chicago MBDA CARES team, and the Illinois Capital Development Board. Please complete the survey that you'll receive via email for today's event. And should you have any additional questions, feel free to contact a TA team member at programs@chicagomsdc.org. And also, please save the date for our next exciting TA Thursday, which is scheduled for March 18th from 4 to 5 p.m. Have a great evening.
Thank you, everyone, and good night. Be well.
Good night.
Have a good evening as well.